Make sure to consult an equine professional before attempting any training techniques yourself.
I ride high in the saddle, always saddle my own horse. Still I'm every inch a lady, from the outside to the core. I take the trail less traveled, 'cause I know where it leads. I live my life by the Cowgirl Creek.
In today's episode of Horsemaster, Dale Myler and I will work together to salvage the relationship between a frustrated rider and an unhappy horse. We'll change the bit to make the horse more comfortable in her mouth, and we'll improve the rider's position to make her more effective in the saddle.
Stay tuned to Horsemaster with Julie Goodnight. Welcome back to Horsemaster with Julie Goodnight.
Hi, I'm Julianne, and this is my horse, CC Cherokee. I've been riding English most of my adult life, and CC came to me as a 9-year-old Greenbrook broodmare. So we've been learning Western together over the last few years. Our biggest issue is the bit. She doesn't like it, she pulls on it, we end up in a tug-of-war, and I'm here to get some help with that, and hopefully we'll find ourselves in the Western Pleasure Ring very soon.
You know, where she's got contact on this horse all the time, that's probably because she grew up riding English. And then she's transferring over to Western here. And that's what she was saying about her horse. The horse keeps taking the rein out of her hand. So she's always got the contact of like English.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's a tough thing to do to switch from English to Western, and I know that for a fact because I grew up riding English, and it probably took me 2 or 3 years of riding Western to really learn how to let go of a horse and let him carry himself. You get so dependent on that contact. And the other thing I see in her, that as she is gripping and clenching on the rein, she's perched forward in the saddle a little bit. That sets up a whole bad dynamic in the rider, where she's getting her legs in the horse at the same time she's clenching on the mouth, and it's just leading to some frustration on the part of the horse.
Yeah, and then what happens is the rider gets frustrated, the horse gets frustrated, neither one of them have fun.
Yeah.
So I think that if you agree that we should try the little short shanked 04, we'll put it on, and you work with the horse and just see what happens, see what you can end up doing.
I think that'd be great. Well, I'd like to get on her and just kind of let her go, let her start carrying herself a little bit, and then we've got to come back and fix the rider. Well, Julianne, it looks like you're both a little frustrated with each other.
Yes, very.
And I think Dale hit the nail on the head that neither one of you is having a good time. But the good news is I think there's a lot we can do to fix it. Your problems aren't huge. We're fortunate to have Dale Myler here to give us some expert opinion on what to do with the right bit for this horse. I'll give you my expert opinion on what to do with you. And I think if we fix both of you up just a little bit, I think you're going to have a nice ride on this horse.
Great.
Okay, well, why don't you keep riding a little bit? Dale and I are going to go fix up a new head stall for you, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Stay tuned to Horsemaster with Julie Goodnight.
Here's a quick tip about preventing and healing bed sores. Many horses are prone to getting bed sores on the hocks from laying down on an abrasive surface. But some horses are also prone to bed sores on the front of the fetlock from laying in a certain position. If you have a horse with this problem, simply use a rubber bell boot turned upside down when the horse is in the stall to help protect this delicate area. You may also need to add more bedding.
Welcome back to Horsemaster with Julie Goodnight.
Well, first off, I'd like to explain a little bit to you about the bit that we're trying on your horse.
Okay.
This is a little short shank Western bit. It's got a little tongue relief in the center. You can see how it ports up very little.
Yes.
It'll wrap the outer lip to give your horse a warning that you are going to ask. It won't collapse and pinch the bars. You'll be able to pick up independent. This has a curb strap on it, which your other bit did not have.
Right.
So we're going to take the pinch off your other bit. We're going to add a curb to it and a little length to the shank here and see if we can get your horse relaxed. Okay? Julie, what kind of feel are you getting out of this bit?
Well, it's kind of interesting, Dale, because when I first got on her, if I'd pick up just the slightest contact, she would overreact and stop and turn too far if I wanted to just guide her a little bit. And now that it feels to me like she's trusting this bit now, and she's not quite so overreactive, so I have a little better steering. I can actually pick up one rein and give just a little bit of pressure to straighten her out.
Okay, what I see different is now she's starting to lick her lips a little bit. She's very, very soft in her eye, and she's not messing with her mouth. She had her mouth open a lot before.
Yeah.
Her mouth is very quiet right at the moment.
Well, I could tell when I first got on that she expected one thing, and it took her just a minute. Now, when she wants to put her head down, I'm just letting her. I'm not going to hold her. And that leaning on the bit is actually a codependent behavior. It takes both the rider and the horse to do that. So what I'm doing, I've got these nice heavy rope reins. These are reins I designed to help people learn to ride with a little looser feel. And so I'm kind of throwing the reins away a little bit and making her carry herself. And a few times she's tried to stretch her head down and root the reins, but if there's nothing there for her to root on, so she can't really do it. And so what'll happen is it's pretty hard for her to continue trotting with her nose down to the ground. So if I just throw those reins away and let her put her head down, she'll get tired of it, and she'll pick her head back up and start balancing herself a little better.
Yeah, because when she's rooting down, you're just giving her the rein and riding her through it.
Exactly, making her keep going. Now the other thing I noticed is now that she is not so focused on the bit, she's moving a little steadier. Now if I just sit back a little bit more, whoops, a little bit too much that time. If I just sit back and slow down my seat a little bit, she'll actually slow her trot really nicely. And, you know, we can't make a Western pleasure horse out of this mare today. And that speed control is something we'll work on later. But first we got to get her steady, and we got to get her not worried about her mouth.
That's absolutely right. The horse has got to get relaxed in the mind first. And the rider, as you work with the rider, get the rider's confidence built up that she can give the horse away.
Sure, give her the freedom of her mind so she can think about what you're asking her to do. But she's feeling better and better to me by the minute here. She still has this habit of wanting to turn her head and go one side or the other, but now when I pick up the rein to correct her, she's not overreacting. So I'm kind of liking the feel of this. I like this mare, Dale. How do you think she looks?
I think she looks good. You know, we were talking about her before when they were just bringing her in. I think she's a very nice horse.
Yeah, she's green, definitely. But Julianne, I'm really liking what I see and what she's doing. What do you think?
I think she looks great. She looks really relaxed.
Yeah, a lot better. Well, Julianne, I think if you're game, I'll get off this horse and you can get on, see if you can carry on from here.
That'd be great.
Okay, Julianne, so your main focus here is going to be to leave these reins slack, leave a nice drape. If she goes to leaning on the reins, just let her have all the reins she wants. If there's nothing there for her to lean on, she'll quit leaning.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and have you come out on the circle and just at a walk. And we've got a lot going on with her, not only with the leaning and all that, but she's also just a green horse. And one thing that's really difficult is to keep her going straight. And have you done a lot of lateral flexion with this mare?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think you've done too much.
Okay.
Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And what happens is now she thinks that's the answer to everything. So when in doubt, she starts laterally flexing, and that's one reason why it's so difficult to keep her going straight. So I want you to focus on keeping your hands forward, but keeping her nose in front of her chest. So good, just gently and slowly pick up the outside rein to correct her nose. Not quite so much. So you got her She thought that meant to flex the other way. So slow your hands just a little bit. And also, Juliana, if you'll think about, rather than pulling back to correct her nose, bringing your hand out to the side in a leading rein. Good. Keep her moving forward. This is looking much better. Now for you, I want you to focus on your seat. I want you to really sit back on your pockets. That's much better. Keep her moving forward with your legs. Drive her with your seat. Always reach forward with your hands. Give, give, give with your hands. It's easy to take away rein. It's hard to be giving. This is looking much better, okay? So keeping her nose in front of her is the big focus, keeping those reins slack and keeping you back on your pockets. Let's go ahead and have you bring her up to a trot now. Resist the temptation to grab for those reins. Get her straightened out, reach forward, don't pull back when you're asking her to go forward. Reach forward, little bump with your calves, ask her to trot. She starts rooting down on those reins. Don't let her pull the reins out of your hands, but don't give her anything to lean on. Sit back, good. Sit back, and just let her find her own pace. I don't want you to try to slow her down with your hands. If she breaks into a canter, correct her back to a trot, but otherwise let her find her own carriage. Let her find the speed. This is looking much better. Keep her going. Keep her going at a trot. Don't let her just stop whenever she wants to or go whenever she wants to. You're the one that controls that. Okay? Good. Sit back, 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 back. Think about putting your nose behind your belt buckle. Good. Okay, so Juliana, the next day, what I want you to focus on, whoops, whee! Focus on staying in the saddle, that's good. I want you to focus on keeping those reins nice and loose, keeping her nose in front of your chest, keeping your hands slow, and sitting back and just relaxing down on her back. But I think just in this little bit, you made a lot of progress.
That was incredible difference from earlier.
Good. All right. Why don't you keep working here?
Stay tuned to Horsemaster with Julie Goodnight.
Hi, I'm Dale Myler, Myler Bits, and we're doing a series on bits and bitting. A lot of times equine dentists or veterinarians will tell you that you've got a horse with a real wide or thick tongue or a low or shallow palate, and these things certainly happen. However, what they don't further tell you about is that when that horse's mouth is closed, the tongue fills the whole cavity of the mouth and lays against the palate of that horse, the same as your tongue is laying against your palate, just sitting there relaxed. When we talk about levels of bits, we're not talking about maneuvers a horse makes. We're talking about pressure points of a bridle bit and basically tongue pressure, because this is where our theory changes. Our theory is the horse evades tongue pressure much more than they ever thought of evading bar pressure. And the reason we say that is because right behind your back tooth, it's the same as the bar of a horse. It's a piece of bone covered with skin. You could take your thumbnail and press it in there as hard as you can press and walk any place around this facility you want to go. But if you was to stick your finger in the center of your tongue, you wouldn't go 30 feet and wish you hadn't done that.
Dale, what do you think about this mare today?
Well, I'll tell you what, Julie, I think she's a lot more relaxed in her mind and a lot softer in her eye.
Yeah, she is. She looks a lot happier, doesn't she?
Yes. And also, you know, the way you've positioned the body of the rider, you've got the front end freed up. So.
Sitting back nicely. Well, Dale, tell us a little bit more about the length of shank we've got on this mare, because I think that's really important for people to understand.
Well, it is. The shank has nothing to do with the horse. The mouthpiece is for the comfort of the horse. The length of shank is for the rider's hands. Now, this is exactly where this rider needs to be, because she's got a lot of training to do on this baby yet. Well, it's an older horse, but a green horse, as you pointed out. There's a lot of training to do. If she goes with too long a shank, she's going to end up getting in trouble. This might not be her finished bit as far as length of shank, but right now it is.
Yeah, so when she gets her hands in better control, then she might have the ability to go to a longer shank.
Possibility, and then she may just stay here. It depends on the mindset of the horse and how she's getting along. You know?
Well, Julianne, how do you feel about your horse today?
Well, I am so excited. She's relaxed, she's quiet and happy, and that just really makes me happy too.
Well, I have to say I'm really impressed in the change you've made in you. This switch, like we talked about yesterday, from English to Western is a tough one because you've got habit, you have the habit of hanging onto the reins and perching forward a little bit. Those are really difficult habits to break. And in just a short amount of time, I can see you're working hard at it. You've got it in your mind to sit back, and like Dale was saying, that frees up the front end of the horse and it makes her more comfortable and starting to use her seat, your seat a little bit, and she's responding. The other habit that's really hard to break is that clenching on the reins, and you've done a super good job of that. We've got a lot of information on our website. In fact, there's a link to Dale Myler's series of video presentations on bits and bitting and understanding the theory behind the Myler bit system. So I think you should go there and check it out so you really have a good understanding of what we've done here. But I think you guys are on the right track.
Well, thank you, and I can't thank you both enough because you've saved a relationship that I thought was never going to go anywhere. And now I think I'm going to have a lot of fun.
That's just great. Well, you deserve it.
Thank you.
Can hear my heroes on the western wind. Say what's holding you back, it's keeping you in. Run and scare, but that ain't no way to live. So tear down those fences, ride like the wind.
Next time on Horsemaster with Julie Goodnight.
I'll guide a friend of mine through the horse selection process.
I have worked with and ridden horses my entire life. I'm looking for a well-trained, all-purpose horse.
We'll take a look at several different horses here at my ranch and consider training, breeding, temperament, and conformation so that she has a baseline of comparison.